if there's any effect, is very negligible. So the other myth, that's sort of a myth, is that lemon juice, vinegar, tomato, or other acidic products need to be added at the end because it will slow the softening process. Okay, that really is true, but with as much as we normally would put in a recipe, it's not going to matter enough that it's going to be negligible. Unless you're like cooking them right straight in tomato sauce or something like that, then you might notice, but generally it shouldn't make any difference.
How can you take care of the problem with gas?
We'll talk about that in a minute. We will go there.
Yeah, all the time.
Okay. Okay, most of you guys are all familiar with cooking, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but there's 3 steps: sorting and rinsing your beans, which a lot of beans now are triple washed, and so you really don't have to worry about that too much. But
Except if you buy it once it's right.
yeah, it depends. I
horrible.
got some at the grocery store, and there was some dirt and some different things in it, so you do need to do that. Rinse them and sort them. Okay, let's talk about the soaking. I put that as optional because sometimes I want to cook beans, but then I forgot to soak them the night before, and then I'm thinking, oh well, I'll just wait till another day, and then I just don't do it. But you know, you can go ahead and cook them. It's not going to be a problem. But the benefits of soaking are nutritional. The thing that affects mostly how long beans are going to cook is just how old the beans are. So when you soak them, it's going to increase the absorption of minerals, besides the increase of nutrition that's happening because they're sprouting. And the reason why is because they have phytic acid in them, and that binds with the minerals. And when you soak them, it helps the phytic acid break down and makes those minerals more available to your body. And what's interesting, as I was looking into this, actually, if you will soak your beans at 140 degrees, you're going to get the most benefit. Now, phytic acid isn't all bad. There's some good properties to it, too, so you don't necessarily want it to all go away, but that's when it will help with nutritionally. All right. Soaking also does help with the gas-causing effects because it helps break down those complex carbohydrates, which is what is hard for us to digest, which causes the gas in the first place. So soaking will help with that as well. So you just soak them, and then after you're done soaking them, just empty out the water and rinse them, and then
When you pick your black beans, because I was told by a friend that when you do black beans, you don't change the water, it's going to make that less black.
that may be, that's probably a personal problem. I haven't noticed any difference. I usually jump out in other. You know what? If you have suggestions and you know something that I'm not saying, feel free to join in because we could all learn together with everything everybody's saying. Okay, so overnight soak, and then also you can do a quick soak. You can bring them to a boil and boil them for 2 minutes, and then soak them for an hour or 2. And maybe that would be better than not soaking them at all. Alrighty. Okay, sometimes we are going to run into hard beans, and so there's a couple of tricks to softening them. Okay, one is to not soak them in hard water. Another one is to add some baking soda to the soaking water. Cooking them in a pressure cooker will probably for sure do it. It's just, especially if you do it for 25 minutes. You can do it for too long.
You can have refrigerators.
Okay, and if all else fails, you can grind them into flour and still use them. One of the good things.
Sorry, do you just put them in your grinder just like this?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you just yeah. One of the other things that's nice about pureeing them or grinding them into flour is that also helps break down the complex carbohydrates. So refried beans and different things like that, it also helps with the gas.
So can you just grind like pinto beans into flour and then mix it, make it like a gravy, and it'll be refried beans?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. Alrighty. Any questions on that part of things? Okay, cooking beans. Most all have experienced cooking beans. I remember before I'd ever cooked any beans, it was just this big scary thing. They have to do that, but you know what? Cooking beans is like the easiest meal that I can do. Just soak them overnight, get up in the morning, throw them in a pot, throw in a few spices, and usually do, for 1 cup of beans, you would do 3 cups of water, or sometimes I don't even measure. I just put it like just cover the beans maybe by a ½ inch or so, and then cook them. Add your salt. You can add some seasonings too. Very, very easy, especially in a crock pot. That's the easiest way to go. But you can do it on the stove. You can put it in a Dutch oven or a covered pot and do them in the oven. You can do them in your sun oven. You can do them in your crock pot.
I'm so excited.
Okay, I'll tell you.
Read yesterday.
Okay, and a pressure cooker, which is a great way to go. I was going to bring my pressure cooker, but I forgot. Okay, I actually cooked some beans in my sun oven yesterday. It was awesome. We started about 11, and I had soaked some kidney beans and just stuck them in there. And I didn't have a recipe. I just threw a little bit of salt in, didn't measure it. Put a little bit of minced onion, a little bit of minced garlic, stuck it in there. And at 2 o'clock, I checked them. So I had to go out every once in a while and kind of do that with it. But 2 o'clock, they were almost done. 3 o'clock, they were more than done. So I figured it probably took 3.5 hours to cook them. And they turned out great. And so we brought them in. I needed to add a little bit more salt. But I didn't have a recipe, and I could have eaten the whole thing. They were just yummy with just a little bit of onion and garlic. So you don't need to have fancy recipes to be able to make great tasting beans. If you've got a few spices, you can just add them and you're good to go. Okay. There's instructions here on how to do all the different methods, so I'm not going to spend time going through that because we will run out of time if I do that.
Susan?
Yes.
Can I just mention, they have these new pressure cookers now, they're like a crock pot, I don't know if anybody can do them.
Yes, they're great.
So you can do your beans really fast.
You can do them, and you can do the late start and all that.
Excellent.
Just, I mean, how long does it take? Like
Oh,
25, 30 minutes?
oh, less. It's, like she said, well, once up to pressure, it's probably about a ½ hour getting up to pressure.
So,
That's cool.
oh, like,
Christmas is coming.
yeah, like macarons and those places.
Oh, you
My
can get them
sister-
at the, okay, I went to Education Week, and I'm quoting the chef Brad there, I don't know if anybody's been there. He does a lot of grains and beans, and he recommended the Cuisinart, so that's what I bought, because I'm tired of buying things and then having to buy something again because I don't like it. So I bought a Cuisinart one, and I know they have them at, my mom actually got one for half the price of what I spent on mine, but a year later, because it was on clearance at the Bosch store. It's a Cuisinart, electric pressure cooker. It looks like a crock pot.
It looks like a crock pot, but it does pressure cooking. At Costco?
Oh, you've seen that?
I
You've
did.
seen that? You bet they do or don't? I haven't seen them there, but
That's cool.
I'm not a big fan.
Who knew? That's great.
I mean, it looks like a crock pot, but it's pressure cooker. It's on your counter.
Oh, is that right?
It's a delay, I mean, it's just, it can do like that. And you can, it also has different settings, like you can brown meat or something before, I mean, if you want to add that to it, you can, I don't know, or saute onions first and then add them. I can't remember all the settings, because you have to go through the whole little menu.
Okay. Well, that's great to know. Okay. Just a note here, don't microwave your beans. There's just better ways to do it. And then you can use a pressure, if you have a pressure canner, you can can your own beans and then have them ready to go anytime. There's some instructions there. On page 7, there is a dry beans cooking chart. And I'm telling you, it doesn't matter which website you go, they're going to have a little bit different information. So this is, pretty close to what the time that it's going to be. But, it's going to vary. There's lots of variables. How hard your beans are to begin with, how old they are, different things like this. But this can kind of just give you a gauge so that you know if you're cooking them for dinner and you want them done at a certain time, about how long the time you're going to need. Okay, a couple helpful hints that if you add a tablespoon of oil to the water, it can reduce foaming. And because we are at a higher altitude, it may take a little bit longer to cook than at a lower altitude. Okay, using bean flour is really an easy thing to do. Here's the thing, I order stuff from a place called Azure Standard, and they're like a health food store that comes and makes deliveries once a month. If you want more information about that, I can let you know, but it's great because that's one way I can get lots of beans and grains and natural foods inexpensively and often. Anyway, But they have flowers already done, and I don't know, there's probably other places. Have you seen